Hi, everyone. I'm Mike, and I'm just making this little video because unfortunately, I won't be able to be present during open house tomorrow night. So this is just to kind of give you a little bit of an introduction to who I am and what the course is about. And hopefully, at some point, we'll be able to meet up face to face. It'll be a long year. Um, so I'm Canadian, and I've been teaching for quite a while, quite a number of years. I actually started teaching. In 1979, and I was a PE teacher for quite a number of years, but always had art and creative impulses kind of at the center of what I do. And I gradually shifted from PE. Well, there was a time when I did both PE and art at the same time in French, and then I gradually shifted full time into doing art. Started off first doing traditional work, analog stuff with students, and then I've gradually shifted into more digital stuff, including the 3D animation, which is a real passion of mine. I think it's an excellent field and really exciting for a lot of the kids. Um, and I'm Canadian, but I've lived outside of Canada longer than I lived in Canada, and I've taught quite a number of international and American schools. And I was actually at ASM and I took a leave of absence for a while and then came back again because I think it's an excellent school for kids and as a teacher, it's very challenging and an exciting place to work. So I'm quite entrenched at the school. Um, this QR code is actually a link to a lot of my artistic work, and there's some digital stuff in there. There's some 3D stuff, as well as analog and traditional work as well. So this class is run. It's a project based class, like all of our digital arts classes are. And generally, the way that works is that the students work on projects for about 6 to 8 weeks, with a kind of a general focus that the assignment has to do with. And they get group instruction at the beginning, and then individual instruction as I go from student to student along the way. But generally, a lot of their time is focused on whatever the assignment is at the time, working independently, and obviously they help each other a lot. And in the center paragraph here, you can see the main areas that we look at throughout the whole year. But the kind of intent of the course is to give them a general understanding of the field of animation, and we will be doing 2D animation as well, and then also integrating 3D into things like video and photography, and but mostly into film, so they see where it fits into the larger field, and not just in the entertainment field, but also there's a lot of other areas like medicine, for example, that 3D is incorporated into. But every project that they work on is really based around the structure of our five visual arts standards, and you can see them on the bottom there. The creative process has to do with planning, organizing, and problem solving. Critiquing is really about looking at where their successes have been in an assignment or in a project, and where there have been challenging areas or where things didn't work out and they had problems. And then also some kind of reflection in terms of what they could have done differently or what they would do differently if they had a chance to attack the assignment again. And really, that's based on this whole concept that we know that students learn best when they reflect on their own learning. And what goes along with that is that we do classroom presentations where, when they're finished a project, they bring their work up to the front of the class. They show the rest of the students the visuals that they've created, and also talk about their learning in those five visual arts standards. Context has to do with learning outside of the actual instruction that we do in class, in terms of tutorials and forums and any kind of research that they can do online that can help them with whatever it is they're working on. And then obviously, skills and techniques have to do with specific software programs that we're working with. And elements and principles are kind of a more generic thing in terms of composition, for example, or color, or different kinds of general art concepts that go across the board in whatever visual arts class that we're looking at. This is a little instructional video that I put together for the kids. So I do this instruction to them as a group, but then they also have a link to this recorded video, and I do it in different stages. So this was the first video that I showed them, and that we went over in class, just in terms of general navigation for the program. The program is called Maya, and I'm just going to jump through this here. But the first section that we talk about is how to navigate in 3D space, and they have orthographic views and they have perspective view. Then there's three main types of objects that we're working with. This first type of object here is called a NURBS, and it's a very organic shape, and it's based on um, Bezier curves or splines. And so when it gets deformed, it gets deformed in a very organic way. And there's different viewing modes that they can go through. I'm just jumping through here. But you can see here, these are the control vertices. And so the kids understand the difference between, this is a NURBS, and then we'll look at polygons in a second. But it gives them an idea of the difference between geometric shapes and organic shapes. So a lot of the sculpting that they end up doing in the class or building together, and here you can duplicate and delete or whatever. So the whole first section is really about building up their basic skills and techniques. This is a polygon here, and the difference here is when you select the vertices, you'll see that as you then pull the vertices out away from the sphere, they're very straight edge. So they go from point to point rather than from, as you can see here. So rather than a curved deformation, it's very rigid. And so we talk about the different functions that a polygon can have compared to a NURBS in terms of what you want to build. If you're building something very geometric, like a machine of some kind, or a robot or a building, you probably want to use polygons. Whereas NURBS would be more suitable for something organic, like a fish or a mushroom or a sofa or something like that. And then the last section that we look at, or the last type of object that they're starting off with, are drawing with curves and then revolving the curves around an axis. Let's see if I can jump forward to that here. And so obviously the whole program is based on math. So here we have the three orthographic views: the top view, the front view, and the side view. So what we're looking at doing here is taking a curve, CV curve tool, and building some kind of shape along that y-axis. And then what they're doing, and this is made of control vertices. So here you can see I'm just doing some kind of random shape. And then they take that curve, and then they, in 3D space, they spin it around or revolve it around that y-axis. So here's the curve in perspective view, taking a look at it. And then all they need to do is to take it and revolve it. And once they've done that, the shape then spins around that axis, and they get this solid shape. But they don't have to be finished with that. What they can do is they can then select the curve, and if they don't like part of the shape, they can go back into the control vertices like they did with NURBS and just select a couple of vertices. And as they make changes there, you can see that the shape changes as well. So that's that's some of the basic stuff in terms of the program that we're using. And they're also learning how to put colors and textures and lighting and rendering, and that's all kind of secondary to this first section, which is about modeling. Again, the best way I think really that you can help your child's learning is to get them to show you what they're working on, and ask them questions about it. And that helps them to reflect on their learning and helps them to realize, oh yeah, I do understand this. Or particularly if you can ask guided questions in terms of, how did you do that? How did you create that shape? And also maybe even asking them, now that you know what these three types of objects are, was that the best shape or the best type of object to use to create that shape? For example, one of the students in class showed me two pieces that he'd done and asked him what they were, and they're chess pieces. And when I think about making a chess piece, my first is, well, depending on the pieces, he did bishops, and I would have used probably a revolved curve to create that. This student didn't. I think he used NURBS, but there is no right or wrong. It's just that when they try to explore different ways of doing something, then they expand their understanding of the tools as well. And again, if I'm always here, so if you have any desire to get in touch or have a chat or ask questions, or if there's any issues or concerns, please make sure that you let me know. Sorry again for not being able to make it to open house, but hopefully we'll see each other face to face pretty soon.